Good afternoon, Migrant Leaders, Mentors and Mentees. Thank you so much to joining us on this Connect conference, which we do on a monthly basis to get our mentors and mentees together, but also to give our mentors the opportunity to tell their 7-minute career stories. It's really inspiring for our mentees. I know it is because I feel inspired by hearing the mentors' stories. Each one of them are genuinely unique. So welcome to the Migrant Leaders Monthly Connect Conference. Thank you so much. Mentors and mentees, both of you, can you please put in brackets as a label against your name in Zoom, whether you're mentor or mentee? So you can put in brackets mentor or put in brackets mentee, so that when later you put your hand up and you ask questions and make comments, we know whether we are talking to a mentor or a mentee. Thank you so much. I guess it's good for me to give a quick update on Migrant Leaders. We've just released our latest quarterly impact report. You will see that on our website on the homepage, and all the previous quarterly impact reports you can see on our impact page on our website. We now have 5,000 young people on our program. They're supported by 2,200 excellent mentors from 95 FTSE 100 and leading firms. It really means a lot because Fawzi and I hear about their stories every day. We get emails, calls, messages from mentees and mentors about the successes that these mentees have achieved as a direct result of having the support, know-how, connections, decision support, and insights of their Migrant Leaders mentors. So I honestly cannot thank you enough for supporting our charity and the young people on our program. Of course, although mentoring aspect of our program is the flagship part of our development program, the mentees also get many opportunities, dozens of opportunities each year to come with us to our corporate experiences. Some of them are insight days we've developed with our corporate partners. Others are unique internships that we've developed with corporate partners. Workshops. We recently had a hackathon with the consulting firm Baringa, which was an amazing opportunity for 10 of our university students to work on a live client example and actually make contributions to problem solving. We love our program, Migrant Leaders, and really glad that you're part of it. Without taking up more of your time, I'd like to introduce you, first of all, to Fatima, who is our first speaker, who will tell us about her career story in about 7 to 10 minutes.
Thank you, Ilham. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy that I am part of Migrant Leaders family and happy to share my career journey with you today. I started my studies in civil engineering in 2001. At high school, like many people, my belief about good career shaped mostly by family and society. So becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. My mom wanted me to become a civil engineer. And for me, the image of wearing a safety helmet in a large construction site seemed pretty cool. So I went for it. Looking back, I think that even I had the opportunity to choose anything I wanted, my thinking was quite narrow. I couldn't even imagine going to a direction related to what I enjoyed at the time, like teaching or reading psychology books. During my bachelor's studies, I didn't feel a strong connection to the subjects. Everything felt a bit rigid, and that feeling became much clearer after I completed an internship in a civil engineering company, where I realized this is not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I finished my bachelor's, and then I moved to Canada with my husband and spent about a year exploring my options. Eventually, I chose to study economics. Economics is a vast field where we see how smart people have modeled human behavior in our world where resources are limited. I felt more connected to topics compared with civil engineering and also started working more with data. Working with data wasn't always exciting, but over time, and now after 20 years, I've developed a deeper appreciation for it, and I can clearly see the value it brings. After finishing my studies, I moved to Liverpool and spent around 5 years there. That period was quite challenging. Initially, I focused on completing my PhD thesis, and then I started looking for job opportunities. But there weren't that many that matched my background at the time. And looking back, I think that what I saw as a confidence issue at the time was really rooted in perfectionism. So I thought that I needed to be almost fully qualified before applying for a role. So I avoided opportunities where I didn't meet like every single requirement. During that time, I took on part-time teaching roles at University of Liverpool and also started tutoring. Teaching as a tutor was a mixed experience. On one hand, I really loved teaching, but on the other hand, I often ask myself whether being a tutor is the right long-term path for me. So I just looked and looked for jobs, and eventually I found a role at a consultancy in London, where I worked for about 4 years. I was an economist, and the company was made on the idea of measuring social impact. For example, when a school is built in a community, we assess how various social benefits it creates can be quantified and monetized. While I was working in that company, I noticed that similar work was better paid in data science roles. So I used my maternity leave gap and built the necessary skills and prepared for that transition. And since 2023, I have been working as a data scientist at NatWest Climate Team. Here we provide data and model-driven insights into how climate change will affect bank customers or any climate-related issue affect bank customers. And we support them in transitioning into greener economy and help them understand and comply with evolving government regulations. I particularly enjoy this role because the impact of climate-related work matters more to me than purely financial areas in the bank. And actually, over the past year, I sometimes felt tempted to move in a direction such as investment banking or focusing on making money in the stock market. That all seemed fascinating initially. However, when I thought deeply about them and also tested some relevant tasks, I realized that it is not something I genuinely enjoy or where I feel creative and motivated. Now, if I want to summarize what I learned about myself in my career journey so far. First, when I was younger, what mattered most to me was how a job looked from outside, whether it seemed prestigious or impressive. Over time, I realized that what truly matters to me is whether I enjoy what I do. Do I feel motivated and creative when doing it? Does my work have an impact that I can relate to? And this is ongoing. And to be honest, I almost every day think about having an even more satisfying job. And the second point I learned was the importance of not giving up on finding what feels right. Even within role, there are ways to move closer to my interests by choosing projects I care about, learning new skills, or exploring interests outside work like reading or doing volunteering activities. And the third point I found about myself was that I truly enjoy connecting with people and making more visible impact on their lives. Sometimes impact is more behind the scene in my day-to-day tasks. And so I've started spending time to read more about career choice and offer volunteering career advice, which is a field I genuinely relate to. And in the long term, I hope to move in a direction to apply my expertise in this area. And finally, one of the most valuable lessons I've learned is not to overthink everything. It's important to reflect, but only to a point. Taking action, getting feedback, and adjusting the actions along the way is far more effective. And overthinking always holds me back, but the smallest steps forward are very powerful. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any question, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Fatima. That was a really, really interesting story because it showed me how you transitioned from extrinsic motivation, pleasing family, pleasing society, doing what you think they want you to do, to intrinsic motivation, which is infinitely more enjoyable and enduring. And very much a career that is based on following your genuine interests, following your genuine purpose. I personally really appreciate that. And how you were aware of your skills. You took your skills from one industry to the next, to the next, to the next, and you're about to do the same. So thank you so much. I wonder if we could go on to Mona next, and then questions and comments for both of you afterwards. Would that be all right?
Good afternoon, everyone. So a quick introduction of myself. So I'm Mona. I'm based in London. I've been living in London since 2001. I'm originally from India. And yeah, and also big thank you for inviting me today to speak about my career journey. And yeah, so obviously you can see the slide here. So I currently work in Infosys, which is, I'm not sure if everyone has heard of the organization, but we are a leading a global systems integrator with our origin on our roots in India, but we're very global at this time. We're more than 19 billion in revenue, and we work across different customers in different, sort of industries. And I essentially manage our AI portfolio from our sales view. So AI and automation. So a little bit about my background, and I was listening to Fatima's story. There's so much of sort of similarity from that sense that I grew up in a very small town in India, in eastern India. It's a state called Orissa, and I was raised in a family which my father was a doctor and my mother full-time sort of poet and writer, but she was not like a working professional. So from that sort of environment, I think her focus was a lot that especially girls. And I was also we were just two daughters, so I was the younger daughter, and my mother's focus was always that girls just have to find, you have to be independent, you have to be economically independent. And that was just something which was always there at the back of our minds. But I was also a little bit rebellious. So where my father was a doctor, my sister studied to be a doctor as well. So I was like, okay, that's not something I want to do. And like Fatima said, the sort of civil, having the hat on and everything for a civil engineer. I wanted to do something which is outside the norm, something which girls were probably not always doing. And that's why I decided to study engineering. I studied engineering in telecommunications. I then went on to do my MBA. So it was like, sort of masters in business administration. Again, this is quite a normal path. Many people in India follow. They do engineering degrees and then do MBAs. So that was not so much out of the norm, but I think there as well, the general view is that, okay, as a girl, why don't you just study HR or, study something like that, and not maybe, or finance even, but not so much of marketing. And that's what I eventually studied, which was more marketing, and I got into sales. Again, not suitable as a career for women normally, so is what was sort of told. So that's where I was trying to do something a little bit different. But the whole thing is where, with the background of creativity, I was always writing as well. And I initially had thought after my MBA that I would get into sort of the advertising world or something more, creative. However, somehow it just happened that my first job was itself in Arvind Telecommunications in India, which was actually a big textile company, but they had a telecoms division which was new, and they put me into that, saying that this is where we think you can use your skills better. And that story happened a few times, that I did try to say that maybe I should be working in a more creative industry because of my personal interest and hobby, but somehow I was led on to telecoms and telco. And so I sort of stuck to that. And obviously now I've been in the industry for more than 25 years, and I've been working across what I like to say is looking at sort of technological revolutions when they happened. For example, there was when I moved to the UK, I in fact came into selling telco software solutions. And if I'm sure people are very young on the Mentees side over here, but that time there was a big revolution of 4G network, 3G, and all of those MMS models. SMS was there, but kind of mobile media and all of those kind of things. So in that in that kind of, it was like, so customer care and billing systems were like the technology which everybody was talking about. So that's where I was in a company doing that, and I moved to London to manage to kind of do business development. So that was what kind of and then there were other subsequent companies I worked for, where I also did things like revenue assurance and fraud management. And about 10 years ago, I moved to Infosys in automation. And at that time, again, RPA and automation was like what everybody was talking about. My role has kind of evolved organically to AI. And as everybody knows, AI is literally what the whole world is now talking about. So with all of that, I think my learning has been to find, in fact, my own skills. And I realized that I actually have got a niche because I could, I have been at the intersection of tech and business for a while. So sometimes I'm in conversations which are they're very technical people, but then how do you bring out the business value of what the technology is? And I think that's something which I have been doing repeatedly over the years in different organizations. And I think that's what I've sort of, my career's progressed to, kind of across borders from that. Other things, though, is that I've also done like an MA in creative writing and MPhil in creative writing, because I also felt that to nurture my own writing thing. It somehow felt that I think it's because otherwise I felt quite an outsider, I think, in the whole literature space, because I've not studied literature. So I felt that with that degree, it was helping me. So I've kind of had both the hats. So I do still write. I've got about 6 books published. Not about AI or anything. It's about fiction and poetry. So that's a different part of it. But what drives me about my current job, like I said, AI is extremely exciting at this time. There's literally new things happening every day. So there's a lot of learning. And it's also learning with a lot of, there's a lot of ambiguity. Like for today, I might have a slide deck for a customer, and tomorrow or in 2 days, the solution's completely changing. So you have to kind of adapt yourself very quickly. So huge amount of learning. And I've got sales, but it's also a lot of kind of thought leadership as well, because it's learning new things, as I just said. And it's also leading, like customers, for example. I might be talking to a small local council where we are talking about AI for good and, sustainable AI, frugal AI, all of that. And then we're talking also to banks who are, of course, trying to improve customer experience for their customers, for example. So it's kind of across every sort of industry. And I can also shape the narrative in the way I want. For example, I feel very strongly about responsible AI and AI governance. So I can kind of lean my interest into that space as well. And I think, yeah, that's what I do enjoy, speaking to different, different cultures, different customers. The last part of the slide is about what advice I would give to anybody starting in this sector. And when I'm saying this sector, it's kind of, I would say, IT and technology. And there are a lot of different things you can, of course, do. Sales is what I've been doing, which is what I know about. And when we say sales, it's not sort of very small, like smaller value, quick, like not white good sales, for example, and which are much faster. So the volume is lesser, but the volume is more, and they kind of move faster. Our kind of sales is much longer sales cycle. So it means you have to be quite patient. You have to be kind of engaging with different stakeholders. So it's a lot of knowledge, a lot of conversations which you need to have. So I do enjoy that. And I think it's a great career path for anybody who's looking for both knowledge and, meeting people and being in the forefront of any this sort of discussion. There's, of course, consulting. There are very technical roles like delivery roles, for example, operations, or even marketing, HR, legal as well. I mean, all these roles are going to be changing a lot with AI. But I think all of these roles will be reimagined in different ways. So I think there's a lot of exciting things which will come in this whole sector. And I think also, and I think the previous conversation was about knowing your own strengths. And I think that does take a little bit of time. But once you are kind of confident about what you want to do and what is a skill of yourself, your own superpower, then you can kind of sort of shape your way that way. And I think so I think, yeah, I mean, the whole journey, and of course, because we're talking of migrant journeys, I do of course want to touch upon a couple of sort of challenges. For example, like I said, I came from India. I had not studied in the UK at that time, and I was trying to do a sales role. And if you look at it, all the interviews I went for were, of course, men, probably I would say white men, or people, or maybe even local people is what I would think. So I think I was already hitting a challenge there, because as you know, in sales, people want people, they know people who have a network. So I was already facing a challenge that how does this person who's come from India suddenly go around talking to customers here? Probably she doesn't know anybody here. How will she engage? So that was a challenge which I did come across. I think things have changed a lot. I think the whole industry is way more diverse, and I think that you also do need to find your own strength and something which sets you apart from, you know, this, so that you're not raised this question. So maybe finding a larger company, or finding somebody on the other side who is like yourself, and you know, who's therefore open to taking you on. So that could be a sort of challenge in this field. But I, like I said, I think it's all changing very rapidly. So yeah, so that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Mona. That was wonderful. And for me, it says at least a couple of lessons in there. Number one, that no matter how robust your education and career is, you are going to face challenges.
Yeah.
And that you have to notice them, you have to know what you're worth, and you have to address those challenges. Our migrant leaders mentees should know that it's never going to be plain sailing, even if you are a top student and a top professional. The other thing I really loved about your presentation is the fact that you can seriously pursue an important interest in your writing, as well as a career like this. It gives me hope that maybe I could do the same in the area of music. I have no creative writing talent at all. And in fact, even musical talent is debatable. But it interests me, and it would be good to know that we can have a career and a life, and mentees should know that.
Yeah. No, thank you. Well, I can't. I love listening to music, but I cannot play a musical instrument to save my life or sing. So I love listening to that. So yeah, you absolutely can.
That sounds good. I shall play the piano for you if you read your poetry for me.
Of course, we'll do that. We'll do a show.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much, Mona. So that was wonderful. Thank you so much, Fatima and Mona. That was really inspiring. And I would like to open the floor to mentors and mentees to ask questions and make any comments. You can put your hand up. You can put questions in the chat. You can even take your camera off and ask questions in person, even better. I would always encourage mentees to do that. I'm just watching the chat. I don't know, Fawzia, if you wouldn't mind managing the chat questions.
Happy to manage the chat questions. Please, I've just put a little note in there asking everybody to let us know if they're a mentee or a mentor, and you can add your question there. I mean, we'd love it if mentees were able to put their cameras on and ask their questions directly, because that's a really good experience for you to have online in the safe space. So don't feel embarrassed about that, but we're happy to ask your questions directly. Somebody sent me a question, and they're asking, I think maybe Mona first for this one. There's so many changes happening because of AI, and young people are very conscious of the need to AI-proof roles that they might apply for. Any advice on that sort of area where people can develop their skills so that they're continuing either to stay in satisfying roles or actually able to use AI to help those roles become satisfying for them?
Yeah, sure. No, I absolutely recognize that because, and the thing is, AI will continue to be there. I don't think it's going to happen that it's going to stop because the amount of investments and changes which are happening, it will just continue. So the only way out is, you have to be using AI in whatever you are doing in your current. I mean, depending on what you are. I think a lot of students, there is obviously a standard way, like your universities are kind of giving a path that, obviously don't use them for writing all your essays or something. But normally the university might be, I think some of them are even rolling out assistance for students. So basically try and use AI in whatever things you are doing, whether even if it's in your personal life, and thankfully a lot of it is accessible so easily. And the reason that does is it does give you the confidence to at least know that, okay, AI is not the strange beast which is, something going to take away my job or something. If you use it, you will feel more confident, and you have to be a step ahead of AI, because you obviously can't. I mean, it does have errors, for example. So sometimes you might find that you are questioning AI, and that's a good thing to do, because then it means that you are using it for your own benefit. But also, what skills? See, there's a lot of free. I mean, again, depends what you're trying to do in which area. But obviously, if you're trying to be something on a more technical, like a data science, I mean, more technical roles, and any of these certifications coming up, just get any of those, like all the AWS, Anthropics, GCPs, all any of them, and many of them is offered free as well. So all of that, I think, skills which you can acquire. If you're not looking for very technical roles, then the suggestion I think would be to use it in whichever capacity. Just keep yourself up to date about how the industry is using it. Otherwise, say you want to work in the travel industry, then at least be aware that, okay, this is how travel is now using AI, so that you're aware of. And obviously the quick thing is when you're making your CVs and all of that, then make sure that, because AI can be used to screen CVs as well. So make sure that you are maybe use AI to write it yourself. So yeah, I think using it as much as possible is a good tip to have.
Thank you so much, Mona. That's really helpful for the young people to hear, especially about using AI in a smart way and adapting it into their sort of day-to-day life and learning to use it now so that it's something that they become familiar with. I think that's really important. Thank you so much. Abhishek, you've got your hand up. I'm sure. Please ask.
Hi, I'm Abhishek Chatterjee. I actually wanted to add something to what Mona said. And I was talking to someone, and it's very important to remember something. The world is changing, but because most of the mentees are coming out of school or colleges, it's very important to remember your fundamentals. Because if you are not clear there, I mean, you can do AI, you can use a bunch of tools, you can use chatbots, you can use Cloud Code or whatever, right? But you have to remember your fundamentals.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what you will develop or what you'll create, you won't understand. That is very important.
Good point. Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that one.
That's an absolutely good point, because yeah, I think that's the other thing, right? That if you're coding, I mean, so much of coding is now done by Cloud Code or somebody, but if you don't know code, then how would you know if it's doing something right or not? So yeah, sticking to your own expertise is always
Yeah, and it's not about just code. I mean, if you create a report, if you create, like, you can put it in Excel nowadays, right? You can do everything. But what you generate, if you don't know what you're presenting it to someone else, it's not going to be easy. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
so much, Abhishek.
I have a question for you, if that's all right, to ask both Abhishek and Mona. In the fields that you work, for example, in Emphasis, Mona, there's a lot of talk from our data sciences, computer sciences students that traditional degrees, for example, in computer science or software engineering, what's going to happen with the rise of AI? What's going to differentiate, for example, STEM and computer science students in the workplace of future in consultancies such as Emphasis?
Yeah, so see, I don't think any of the degrees, because because AI is also so new, everybody is also learning. So it's not that somebody's had too much of a jump start on this. I mean, of course, there are if somebody's a data scientist or an ML engineer, they probably have a slight, but I think so. I mean, from an emphasis perspective, I don't think we actually differentiate on different kinds of disciplines of engineering. I think it's a lot of upskilling we do within the organization. So after hiring people, there is a huge amount of upskilling which we are often doing, and certifications and things. So I wouldn't, I don't think it should be considered too much of a negative if you're, if you're a computer science engineer and not a full-on. Don't know if anybody else.
Yeah, I just want to add. So, look, nobody has seen the future. We don't know what's coming. We know that there is a seismic shift happening. That's that's something everybody knows, right? I mean, anything that it used to take a week or 2 weeks to create, you can create in half an hour, 1 hour, right? So yes, it will change. I mean, same thing happened when computers came into picture, right? People didn't use computers before that. This one is also people have to evolve with it. The main thing is you keep learning, and specifically on the degrees or the studies that we do, again, fundamentals are very important. I mean, Fatima, you are in data science, right? You would use AI, but if you don't understand how data, what is the data, if you don't understand the data itself, you just have a report created with AI. Would it be useful? I don't know. I don't think it will be useful. So yeah, the pace will change very fast, but yeah, again, basics, which you're learning in colleges or schools.
Maybe I can just give an example of the projects that we do in the team. So we have now recently have different AI tools tailored for our use in the bank, because because of the regulation, we are not able to simply go to ChatGPT. So we need to have everything in the bank in a secure environment. But we have many of them, so just fed with our internal documentation and very great for answering our questions. So what I see is that a project that was taking our time, like before, for example, 3 months, now we are able to do it in 1 month. But still, I see that we get more and more data scientists and data engineers to our big team. And the reason is that we are now more ambitious. So the bank wants to do bigger projects and relating more data sets and just reaching to different parts of the banks and just providing insights to them. So we don't have our previous jobs and say, okay, now we do them quickly and we are done, finished. We now want to do larger projects. So we need more people. That's what I see in the bank. So as Abhishek mentioned, if people know the fundamentals and can just validate what AI generates, that's great. And something I can add to that is that specifically for those who are not very much into going to details and working with codes and stuff, I recommend really working on their soft skills, leadership skills, just high level talking and relating things, and being able to manage a team of 10 people. So we have now some leaders in the bank that they are not able to even do simple coding, but they are very good in stakeholder management and bringing funding and projects for us. And then we are working to work on that. So I think those types of skills are also very important in this time with just AI everywhere.
Thank you so much, Mona. We seem to have stirred the hornet's nest on this particular topic, which is fascinating. Roberta and Donna, Roberta first, you both had contributions to make, and whilst we've been listening to the conversation, I know you both typed your thoughts in the chat, but if you'd like to go ahead and share your thoughts with us, that would be fantastic. Roberta?
Thank you so much, Fausia. Hi, everyone. My name is Roberta Melcore, and I'm currently Global Marketing Manager at Amazon Web Services. So we actually are building AI and we are the top builders of AI. I can tell you, I have free recommendations from my personal experience, or maybe advice from 20 years of career in marketing in big tech companies, Google and Amazon, some of them. The first one is really focus on your soft skills. I've heard it, said by many in this room. What I mean is creative thinking. Challenge your thinking. How can you be relevant in the room? How can you bring that human perspective that connect the dots and connect the people? So that is what will make a difference, and that will make you hired. We are currently building AI teams. I am actually working already with AI agents. I see them talking to each other. I am the one that connects the dots. So yeah, bring your human being to the company, and make sure that the hiring manager understand what is the value of having you rather than someone else, even if that is your personal interest, even if you're doing a course that doesn't feel relevant, that shows that you're creative, that you have real life experience. The second is train yourself in using AI, as everybody said here, really be quick at understanding where AI is going, the different AI tools, familiarize yourself with how AI works and how to build an AI application. And then it doesn't matter that you stick with one or two. The most important thing is that you understand the process of building it and interacting with it. It will change from the moment you learn it to the moment you get hired. Probably it will change, and that might be in a day. I feel obsolete. My knowledge of AI is obsolete every day. Like, they definitely invent a new AI tool at Amazon every week. And I am trying to play catch up, and I'm realizing that I will never know everything, but as long as I know how to play the mechanism, that's fine. I can apply to anything. And the third would be your diversity is actually the reason why you make a difference. When I arrived to the UK, I didn't speak the language very well. I'm Italian. And what I noticed sooner than later is actually people appreciated my difference. They were interested, curious about my background, where I was coming from, my accent. So don't be ashamed. In fact, actually, wear it as a pride, like humble pride, of course, and bring your color, because actually, again, that is what will make you shine in a world of, AI and robots. Bring your colors. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Roberta. Yeah, it's so important. And I remember you saying that before as well, because all of us, in fact, as you were speaking, I was thinking how when I was younger, and the fact that I could recognize different Indian foods just, made such a difference. And it was a conversation point. And, it's a simple thing that we take for granted in our own homes as we're growing up with that. But actually, we don't know how much other people don't know. So it's always useful to have those little strings to your bow. So thank you for that. Donna, did you want to add your thoughts?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very pleased to be with you. Today it's my first session, so thank you for welcoming me. So my name's Donna Herdsman. I've got a 42-year career, so I'm kind of just about semi-retired now because I think I've earned my flowers to do so. And it's really, so I've had, I'm a qualified accountant, but I've also spent most of my career in professional services and technology. So I worked at IBM and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise for about 19 years of my total career. So tech's played a major role. And I'm currently working on a project which is all about the space industry. And so these are a couple of observations for me. Really, I think, some of it is supporting what Roberta said, actually, in that whilst AI is revolutionising the way the workplace, which is what we talk about. So I've also said I've just finished at Corn Ferry, so that's where I ended my career, really looking at recruitment and skills and assessing future leaders. And so this is a reflection of some of the things that I've learned. The first thing I think is that whilst AI is revolutionising the world is still ours to make. And so to Roberta's point, employers are looking for people that are curious not employees that want to come along and say, look, I know everything about AI, let's apply it, because nobody knows everything about AI. And organizations that are worth looking out for, those that have declared that they are going to invest in their people to understand how to apply AI in a way that drives additional performance and additional value to organizations, because that's what organizations are looking for. They're looking for value add, not just the deployment of AI for the sake of deploying AI. So that's my first observation. So it's worth looking. I'm not going to promote any employees, any organizations on this call, but it's worth, when you're out there looking at organizations, to look at those that are declaring that they're going to invest in their people, as opposed to leaving their people to try to figure it all out for themselves. So that's my first observation. The second observation, which is again in support of Roberta, is that because it's a journey, and it is a journey that we're on, employers will be looking for those that are curious and are prepared to ask questions around what they're seeing and what they're finding, as opposed to accepting the output. So one well-known global professional services had to pay back more than half the fees they charged a client, because all they did was copy and paste the output from AI and presented it to the client. And most of those organisations it referred to no longer existed. The language no longer was applied because it was deemed to be unacceptable. So curiosity, and I think young people in particular have more curiosity than I currently have. You have the superpower, which is being curious about what we can do to shape the world. And then my third observation is, and I think Mona said it, but I have found that I have skills now that I could never have anticipated that I would ever have when I was an 18-year-old. And so, yes, know your strengths, but you may find as time goes on that those strengths differ, and that you, especially when you set aside the fear factor, that when you step into a space you thought you could not shine, you will find that you shine exceedingly well. And so one of my favorite quotes, and you see, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you see me use it all the time, is that of Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela said, I never lose, I either win or I learn. And so that's a message I would leave for all the mentees.
That's such a big, impactful statement, Donna. Thank you so much. And as you were about to say that, I was also thinking, yes, never stop learning. And in the same way as you, I have skills now that I've developed in the various roles that I've had that I never imagined I would have had when I started my degree. And I laugh at myself now, because Elham and I worked with app developers and we launched an app which we never thought we'd do. Well, I certainly didn't think I would do. So, it's amazing what you can apply yourself to, and what the knowledge that you develop and build as you get older and as you go through your career. It's amazing what that contributes to in an unexpected way. So keep learning. Please, if you want to share your thoughts, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for this is the very first time that I am coming to this platform, but thank you for the invitation. Myself, Sukanya, I'm a consultant at Infosys Consulting. The connect which I found with this migrant leaders is that I am also an immigrant, right? So I came to this country in 2017, and I do come from financial services background, but I chose to reinvent my career completely by pursuing a master's in business management from BCU, Birmingham City University, and then transitioning into consulting. So that very experience did teach me a lot of value of the resilience and the self-belief. And it's something that I'm quite passionate about, passionate about sharing. So here, like all of you, I am also here to support, inspire, and learn alongside you all. And as I was just mentioning on the topics of this AI, that yes, we do come to hear a lot that, with the AI coming in so rapidly, are people at a verge of losing their jobs, or is it absolutely AI? AI kind of symbols on your CV is a mandate for the companies to take you up in the future. Don't really think that is the case at the moment, as Mona and Abhishek was rightly mentioning. I strongly feel that whatever is foreseeable at the moment, of course, the future is unknown, but whatever is foreseeable, that is absolutely, we do need human interaction to be ethically leading AI. So that is where I do think that if we could, like the young people could start still utilizing their soft skills, I think that is a very integral part of the entire journey. We should not give up on our skills given whatever is coming ahead. We will learn, we will be there, we will adapt. That's how humans survive, right? So we will be there one day, nothing to worry about. So, yeah, that's all I had to share. I'm quite nervous anyway.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful point about keeping the human side of ourselves, and certainly it's not either or. Definitely AI and analytical way of doing things, process-driven way of doing things, does not take away from the softer skills or the humanity that we need to also display when we live and work with others. We need both sides. I do want to make a comment about the pace of change in careers, because AI seems to have hastened the rate of change in careers. And it seems to me that our parents and grandparents' generation often expected to have one career for their lifetime, sometimes even one employer in our grandparents' generation. In our parents' generation, maybe they accepted that it wasn't going to be just one employer, but they would have one career. In my generation, often I see people have 2 or 3 careers. They redefine themselves, retrain. We noticed that even on this call, how many of the mentors talking and presenting have done that. I myself, after 23 years of a finance career in GE, EY, and so on, launched and now run a charity, which on the surface seems very different to finance. But in reality, there are very many transferable skills. And I noticed the way a change feels. Of course, it feels uncomfortable. And whether it's right for you, mentees, or not, the choice of careers, coping with the pace of change, there's a combination of method and madness almost. You want to make decisions based on method, based on reason, based on advice, so make informed decisions, but also sometimes things are a leap of faith as well. It's a healthy combination of method and madness when you adapt and adjust to the changing pace of careers and opportunities that come your way. But above all, use the network that is Migrant Leaders Mentors and get advice and hear these stories and advice, because hopefully as you embark on your careers, there is a little bit more method than madness. Would be the right balance.
I don't know if you can, because I'm trying to raise my hand, but I don't see how.
We didn't see that, Lucia, but welcome. Nice to see you.
Hi. Thank you for having me in another lovely, inspiring session. I really love to hear from mentors and mentees. I just wanted to share something about this change piece, because Helen has known me for a little while, so I'm always up to something. But I think something that has shifted lately, and I have to thank a friend of mine because she gave me the one best piece of advice I've ever had. So I come from it's not just the background, it's also the way I am. I really want to make sure that I succeed. I've got all of my questions answered, and I'm ready to go 0 to 100 straight away. And it's really humbling when you realize that, sometimes you need to give yourself a moment and time to learn about something, especially when you want to move from something that's very familiar, very, comfortable, to a different field, a different path, a different area that challenges you a little bit, because you find yourself that you have to find your feet again. So she said something to me, and she said, allow yourself to be a beginner again. It really stuck with me, because we are, especially, when we come from an environment where we have to prove ourselves for many reasons, whether that is our cultural background, whether it's our gender. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, sometimes more than society does. And we want to make sure that we are, at the top of our game all the time. So, and it can be really stressful, and sometimes it can derail you a little bit, because that pressure makes you jump 3 or 4 steps ahead before you're even ready. And sometimes you feel a bit uncomfortable or disheartened if you don't get the reaction or the whatever you get back is not what you expected in the first place. So that piece of advice it really gave me a chance to take a step back. Very humbling to look at it that way. But actually, I found it incredibly empowering, because I really felt like I'm in control of this, and I've got the opportunity to make this to be what I want it to be. And I have to do it right. But to do it right, I need to accept that I will make a mistake, and I will need to learn and ask questions. So I find a lot of comfort in that, because for me, it's a very different place to be right now, in a good way, nothing to be scared about. But I think it's very important when you start your career, especially you come out of university, you've invested so much in your education, and you find that out there, it is not as straightforward as they might make you feel when you are studying. Normally you enroll for a course and they say you will learn these beautiful skills and that's what you're going to be doing with it. It doesn't necessarily mean it won't happen, but it might look slightly different than what you expected it to be. So don't be hard on yourself, just take a deep breath. And it's quite exciting, actually. It's really quite something when you finally go for it. And I loved the theme about do what makes you happy, because sometimes we try to please anybody else, and we forget about what makes us be the best we can be. So I really loved everybody sharing some insight in that regard, because I think it's really, really important to have that as your big motivation. You go far, as long as your heart is in it, honestly, you can take as far as you want.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lucia. And remember, mentees, your heart may not even be in it every day, every moment.
True.
Even those who love their careers, love their jobs, love their company, their heart doesn't feel like in it every day, every moment. There are some good days and bad days. That's all right. Learn to tolerate that. Part of resilience is being able to tolerate discomfort. It's okay. Not everything is supposed to feel happy. Not everything is supposed to feel comfortable or easy. And tolerate those days. Tolerate projects that you're given that may not even play to your strengths. And you may not enjoy as some other projects you've done. It's okay. Have a can-do attitude, because employers notice that. Ask questions. Just focus on what you're working on and why you're doing what you're doing. It's not really about you. It's about your client. It's about your company. It's about helping your colleagues succeed, your project succeed. Make it about them, and it makes tolerating things much more easy.
We've got mentors adding comments in the chat and encouraging mentees to ask their questions or share their thoughts, but unfortunately we are running out of time, Alham. So we could maybe allow a little bit more time if mentees want to ask questions or share their thoughts with
maybe
us.
Another couple of minutes only, if mentees have any further questions. So I would encourage mentees certainly to take up such generous offers from our mentors, connect on LinkedIn and arrange such coffees. That's wonderful. But also, if you're going to have a mentoring relationship of any form, do ask the Migrant Leaders Mentor to find you by name on the Migrant Leaders app, so that the mentor can request to connect with you on our app in order to have a formal mentoring relationship. I think on that note, I should say thank you to Fawzia and and everyone who contributed, particularly those who spoke, and of course, Mona and Fatima, who presented about their wonderful careers. Thank you so much. And we will be publishing this recording in about a couple of weeks. Thank you very much, and see you next month.